following show was recorded in the studios of SLNC ABLS, unmasked in a soundproof booth that is socially distant and responsible. Its content is intended for people who are blind or print impaired. Be forewarned, listening and subscribing to this podcast just might make you a better user of the library reading technology and take your reading to another level of enjoyment. Hello and welcome to Craig's Desk, a program from the State Library of North Carolina Accessible Books and Library Services, SLNC-ABLS. I'm your host, Craig Hayward, the Technology Librarian for SLNC-ABLS. This show is all about sharing and learning about the library's reading technology, online resources, and some insider information announcements from the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, known as NLS. I will say that over the course of creating and producing this show, that it has been fun to write the show scripts, but I also see the need to evolve the content offered. So for Magical Episode 20, I'm offering you, the listener, a couple of pieces of new content. First, a live staff interview with our newest member, who just so happens to be part of my team. Then later in the show, a bit of fun news from another library in the NLS network, because North Carolina is part of a network of NLS libraries, and some fun stories from other parts of the network do make it to my desk, Craig's Desk. That desk is where I get my ideas for this show, and where people like yourselves offer up questions and feedback that are worthwhile to share. Some of the best questions we've had on the show have been from people posting on our social media accounts, like the library's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram accounts at SLNC-ABLS, and day to day when you call in for support and help. I take notes and remember things. I also learn things daily from the interactions with patrons you teach me every day. It's a gift I get to receive from you. I'd also like to mention that our kind department has allowed us to set up an easy-to-remember email box to receive questions from anyone who needs some help. I check this box daily and look for those questions. So, the new email address going forward is abls.help, so that's ABLS help at ncdcr.gov. ABLS for Accessible Books and Library Services, the name of our library, and what we provide as a library. Help, because that's the purpose of the email box. We want to help you, so abls.help at ncdcr.gov is the place to send your technology questions or other feedback. Keep that around and use it when you need it. All the how you ask questions aside, and for whatever reason you're listening, I'm thankful you're here. As is our library, we all want to serve you and help you. So on this show, let me be your guide and help you navigate the changes in our service. I want to help you use the technology better so you can enjoy more reading. A final note before we start this program: sharing is caring. We'd like to get the word out and share this show so that we can help whoever wants help. If you have friends, family, or anyone else that want to listen to the show, tell them to search Apple Podcasts or Spotify for Craig's Desk, or go to the Craig's Desk podcast webpage on Podbean. That is https://nccraigsdesk.podbean.com. That is nckraigsdesk.podbean.com. Enough talk. Let's get this episode of Craig's Desk started. It's good to change up the content of a show like this. So on this episode of Craig's Desk, I present to you a staff interview. This is an interview with Tawanda Walters, Patron Support Assistant. Since Tawanda is a new tech support person, I've decided to use this space for your technology questions for this interview on this episode. So here's a staff interview. Tawanda Walters, ABLS's new Patron Support Assistant, is someone who means a lot to me in my position as the Technology and Digital Services Team Lead for the library. It's pretty cool to have someone else to share in the experience of providing tech support to all of our readers. I was happily involved in hiring her to our team. I'm excited for all that she brings to the library. I'm looking forward to working with her for as long as I'm here.
enough of that. Let's hear things in Tawanda's words. So, Tawanda, what brought you to our library? Why ABLS?
ABLS because me personally, I have a disability. I am totally blind. I've been blind for almost going on 12 years or more. Um, and the fact that I love helping people, and I felt like this position was a good fit for me.
Oh, great. Cool. So, a little more about you. Where were you before ABLS, and what has your journey to get here been like?
My journey has been really, really interesting. So I'm going to keep it with the short version.
Okay.
Before before I actually applied for this position, I was with a company called Pharmaceutical Strategies, which was a work from home customer service that is affiliated with CBS Pharmacy. I did that for like 4 months, and then I was let go, or the contract was let go, which in that
Okay.
time I was in between positions. Before that, I was at LCI, which is a manufacturing company out of Durham, North Carolina, where I worked for 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Before that, NC 211 Information Referral Service, which is just what it is. It's like 411, except it's 211.
Super.
And anyone can call there and get assistance with different types of things like light bill, water bill, prescription drugs, rent, and we cover all 100 counties of North Carolina.
I'm going to make a note of that, actually, to put that on our website. That's a good one to remember. We may not have remembered to put that there, so I'm going to make a note of that for future reference. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What else can you tell us about your journey?
And before that, back at LCI for another 2 years, or a year and a half. And before that, a teacher assistant with Alliance Advocate, teaching others how to use the computer as well as advocate for their rights and their self.
Awesome. So you've got quite a background. You've had a nice journey to get here. I'm excited to have you here and all that you bring.
Thank you, and I'm excited to be here and eager to learn.
Yeah. Okay, so let's transition to some other things about your job now. What have been some of the highlights of being here?
Some of the highlights of being here have been learning how to use the extensive clause database, which is very interesting. I still have things that I want to learn about the database, but so far I've learned how to enter patrons into the system, how to put subject codes into the catalog, how to put exclusion codes on books. But what I found more fascinating than anything is helping the patrons resolve their technical issues with BARD. I think that gives me the most, kind of shoots me to the moon. That's where I get my high from, so to speak.
Okay, yeah. All right. So beyond the highlights, what have been some challenges?
I'm finding that even though JAWS is a screen reader, it still has its issues and things that could be worked out, a little bit more fine-tuned.
Okay.
Our beloved PACE system, or our beloved Beacon system, is not all that supportive for accessibility, and even with the new Fiori, it's still a pain.
Okay.
But learning how to adapt to these challenges and evaluate and making it work for me is the goal.
Is the goal. Okay, great. So, what are your dreams for the future and here at the library? What are your dreams? Where do you want to see yourself? What do you want to do?
That's a good question. And not trying to push you out the door yet, but when you retire, I hope to step into your role.
Okay. That works.
That's further down the line. I don't want to step into any role unless I'm ready, unless I feel that
That's
I
fair.
have been taught and have learned everything that the well, they always say it's a master and apprentice, that the master of um technologies have taught. And even then you still don't teach all your secrets. So
Oh, no, you never
um
do.
but yeah, that's one of my goals is to hopefully one day when you retire is to be able to step up and step into your role and have
Oh,
somebody
that's
step
great.
into my role and pass down
Yeah.
what you teach to me,
Yeah. Yep.
that I will pass down that
Yep.
to someone who steps into my role.
Yep. That's what we all want. And that's, it's funny with that talk of that. People laugh about that sometimes, but really when I look at somebody, I want to hire them into a position that's going to work with me. I generally am thinking about, okay, what can I do to help this person become me or take over from me so that I can walk
Right.
away and do other things. It's not always about the things that are here now, but in the future. So that's great. I have no problem with that. If you get to that point and you can take the lead, you take the lead. So that's great. Okay, so now the librarian part of me, ha ha ha. See, it takes a library degree too to get this job as well. Just so you know, that's a little hint now. The librarian
Okay.
part of me will now ask a question on a related topic. Who are your favorite authors and or books?
Since I'm a bit detective novel person, I like James Patterson.
All
I like
right.
Brad Taylor.
Okay.
I like recently I just got turned on to James Rowland. I like his books. I like
Yep,
Michael
he's good.
Connelly.
Oh, that's good.
I like some of Stephen King's stuff.
Sure.
And I'm talking about the old stuff like Christine and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It with the clowns. Man's Best Friend, Cujo, those types of books.
Cujo. I just got finished
Cujo.
watching Cujo yesterday, actually, as a movie. We're talking about reading that
Yeah.
again. Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Those are some good ones. Okay. So, when you're not working, what do you like to do? So, outside of this place, I know you love being tied to that phone and doing all this stuff, but when you're not in the library, what are you doing when you're not doing technology support, stuff like that?
Spending it with my 6 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
I spend most of my time with my 6 grandchildren. I do like to box, so I get it in
Oh.
on the
Uh-oh.
I get it in
Careful.
on the boxing bag, the punching bag every now and
yeah.
then when needs
Okay.
to relieve frustration.
Oh, wow.
Spend time with my spouse, spend time with family and friends, and
Good.
sometimes I like to go to movies and
Okay.
just hang out.
What are some of your favorite movies? If I'm asking, what are some of your favorite movies you've seen recently? What's the most recent one you've seen that you really liked?
The most recent one I've seen, I wouldn't say I
Yeah.
necessarily liked it, but it was okay.
Okay.
I've seen Nope. Now
Okay.
I've seen the new oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. With Tom Cruise, Maverick and them.
Maverick, yeah, Top Gun 2. Yep.
Yes. So Top Gun 1 was my favorite. Top Gun 2 is
Yeah.
definitely my favorite. I've watched that like 3 or 4 times.
Okay. Oh wow.
Um,
I'll have to mark that one.
yeah, it's a really good movie. I like that. And I like the new Spider-Man.
Okay.
And as Craig knows,
Nice.
I'm a big Star Wars junkie.
Yes.
I love
Oh
all
yes.
of the Star Wars movies.
Oh yes. Yes. Yep. We've talked about that a little bit too. Yep. Awesome.
Let's see. I've seen part 1 of Black Panther. They got a new one coming out, and I will
the new
be.
one.
That comes out on November the 11th, the new Black Panther movie. So I will be going to see that.
Okay. Mark our calendars. Yep.
So, listeners out there, now you know a little bit more about one of the people and their voice of who is helping you out at the library. Thanks so much, Tawanda, for taking a few minutes out of your day to talk to me and help our listeners learn a little bit more about you. NLS News, a story from another NLS regional library. From time to time, I do get some pretty cool information coming across my desk, Craig's desk, from other libraries that are part of our NLS network of regional libraries. If you're not familiar, there are regional libraries in almost every state in the U.S. There are also some states that have what are called sub-regional libraries to serve particular areas of a state. Overall, this network of libraries serves all patrons who qualify for service across in every corner of the United States. This is good to know if you ever decide to move or temporarily locate to another state. Our library and any of the other libraries in the NLS network can help you out. On this show, just to change things up a bit, I thought it would be nice to share a story I recently received from another regional library. The Colorado Talking Book Library hosts a group of beep ball volunteers every Friday who use one of their workrooms to assemble equipment for beep ball teams around the world. As they say, maybe they're putting together parts to use in games for our own patrons here in North Carolina. So beep ball is also known as beep baseball, a version of baseball played by people who are blind or visually impaired. An overview of the game: there are only two bases, first and third. Each base emits a beeping sound, and they are about 4 feet tall. Players run toward the beeping base after the ball is hit. Only 2 players on a team are sighted, the pitcher and catcher. There are 6 fielders per team. All of them are blind or visually impaired. Everyone is blindfolded so that players with some remaining vision have no advantage. Each game is 6 innings, and every bat allows for 4 strikes. A game typically lasts 90 minutes. The Baseball Hall of Fame credits the creation of the game to Colorado telephone engineer Charles Fairbanks, who created the game for his daughter who was visually impaired. The Hall's website says Fairbanks created the game in 1964 and that 12 years later the National Beep Ball Association was founded. The website Wikipedia entry for the National Beep Baseball Association lists over 50 teams from all over the country who play in regional and national tournaments. It sounds like fun. As always, if you have comments about things like this, or you maybe can't find something you are after on the website, you're welcome to email me at the email address abls.help@ncdcr.gov. That's ablshelp@ncdcr.gov. Thanks so much for listening. The library's online resources. Public service announcements from the library. Ever wonder when events and programs are happening at the library? When does winter reading start? Or what about the annual writing contest? You may hear about this from your friends, or you may stumble upon things happening on the library's website. But what if there was a more direct way to get this kind of news? Fortunately for you, there is a way to do this. If you're already getting books on demand cartridges, you have already been getting the library's public service announcements automatically as part of your regular orders. We've set them up to be the first thing you hear on the cartridge when you insert it into the player. This is good to know so that you'll at least listen to the front matter content of your cartridge order before you listen to the books or magazines. I would recommend at least doing this monthly with a new order, since we rotate these messages out as we create new announcements. All that said, if you are one of the many number of readers who now only use Bard to get their books, or someone who only reads Braille or large print, these aren't coming to you automatically. So the library now has a way for you to get these timely bits of news from the library. If you would like to receive ABLS public service announcements, you can simply request it by emailing abls-outreach@ncdcr.gov. That is abls-outreach@ncdcr.gov. Put in PSA as the subject of your email. So now, if you're not getting the library's public service announcements already, you have a way to get them. Those announcements can come in handy because we offer all kinds of news about events and other happenings at the library and with NLS. Having them, you'll be in the know for all kinds of information. I hope you find this useful information. If you have any comments or feedback, send it along to abls.help@ncdcr.gov. That is abls.help@ncdcr.gov. Thanks for listening. That's the end of this episode of Craig's Desk. If you have any questions about the library's technology, how to do something, or would like to give some feedback, send an email to abls.help@ncdcr.gov. That is abls.help@ncdcr.gov. Craig's Desk is a production of the State Library of North Carolina Accessible Books and Library Services, a section of the State Library of North Carolina, part of the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. This episode was produced on-site in the studios of SLNC ABLS. Many thanks to the other person helping on the other side of the glass to produce this show, Clint Exum, our outreach specialist and jack of all trades around our studios. As it has been from the beginning, this show is a production of EMC Squared Productions. Intro music is One Fine Day, and closing music is Step to the Beat, and are offered royalty-free from the website Keep Calm and Podcast. Segment transitions starring nature are from zapsplat.com. If you like what you have heard or are just curious about upcoming episodes, please subscribe to this podcast. There are links from our website for Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our podcast platform called Podbean, and even an RSS feed to listen to it on your own Podcatcher app. Whenever we put up a new episode, you'll be the first to know. Thanks for listening.